All right, let's jump straight into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive geopolitical and economic shift that is, quite honestly, quietly rewiring the entire global economy. We're talking about the rapidly accelerating alliance between India and the European Union. $10 trillion. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. That is the combined goods and services import bill of the 27-nation European bloc. It's an absolute powerhouse of an economic engine, and right now, India is strategically positioning itself to become a primary supplier. So, when India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal calls this the mother of all deals, he really isn't just throwing around political buzzwords. After literally 2 decades of on-again, off-again negotiations, talk about playing the long game, right? We are finally seeing a massive breakthrough that's going to align two of the world's absolute largest democratic markets. Here is today's agenda. We'll start with the mother of all deals, move into tech trade and trust, explore the Belgian connection, break down that $10 trillion market, and finally look at winning the export game.
Section 1, the mother of all deals, navigating the free trade agreement timeline.
Thanks to some serious heavy lifting over in Brussels by India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S.J. Shankar and EU Commissioner Maros Sefcovic, 2026 is officially shaping up to be our historic foundational year. With the really substantive negotiations essentially wrapped up, the goal now is to sign the final legal frameworks by the end of 2026, and that means officially reshaping the market in early 2027. So for businesses, that is a remarkably tight window to get prepared. Section 2, Tech, Trade, and Trust. Inside the Third Trade and Technology Council. At the recent Trade and Technology Council meeting in Brussels, we witnessed a profound level of strategic trust that's basically drafting the blueprint for our technological future. Think about the overarching goals here. We aren't just haggling over textile tariffs. This is a highly coordinated effort to lock down semiconductor supply chains, pioneer AI in healthcare, and actually co-develop global standards for 6G networks. It's all about tech sovereignty and democratic resilience. But they aren't just talking. They are taking real, concrete steps. By late 2026, the plan is to formally associate India with Horizon Europe, which is the EU's massive research program. They're also setting up a dedicated hub for EV charging innovation and launching a deep tech clean energy startup partnership. Plus, the whole shebang is backed by a €60 million joint research fund, tackling real-world challenges from marine pollution to recycling EV batteries. Now, of course, supply chains mean absolutely nothing without security. You can manufacture all the EV batteries and microchips in the world, but if you can't safely transport them, the whole system breaks down. That's exactly why EU High Representative Kaja Kallas put such a heavy emphasis on defending maritime commerce. By joining forces, specifically integrating the EU's Atalanta and Aspides naval operations with the Indian Navy, they're actively stepping up to secure the critical waterways across the Indo-Pacific and West Asia. Section 3. The Belgian Connection, the first India-Belgium Strategic Dialogue. So you might be wondering, how do those massive, sweeping, E-wide goals actually get executed on the ground? Well, they filter perfectly down into highly actionable bilateral agreements, just like this very first India-Belgium Strategic Dialogue. While the broader EU talks about general digital connectivity, Belgium and India hone right in on the nitty-gritty of cybersecurity and semiconductors. The EU discusses general maritime security. Belgium and India get to work specifically on maritime port connectivity and defense manufacturing. This dialogue, which was co-chaired with Belgian Deputy PM Maxime Prévost, sets up a really structured, results-oriented framework to turn all those diplomatic promises into actual reality. And as Dr. Jaishankar pointed out, Belgium occupies a truly special place in this whole equation. It acts as a vital economic hub, basically serving as a crucial stepping stone for Indian businesses trying to navigate the wider, highly complex European market. Section 4, the $10 trillion market, bridging geopolitics and economic opportunity. Okay, so how do we take all these high-level summits and handshakes and turn them into tangible bottom-line growth? That transition happens in rooms exactly like the India-EU Business Forum at the Federation of Belgian Enterprises. Just recently, ministers from both sides, including Minister Goyal and regional Belgian leaders, laid the essential groundwork to make sure that when this free trade agreement drops in 2027, the private sector is fully ready to hit the ground running. Section 5, Winning the Export Game, Identifying Pure EU Export Plays.
To figure out who actually wins big here, we really need to identify what we call a pure EU export play. Basically, this is a listed company whose revenue is meaningfully or predominantly tied specifically to the European Union. Now, true pure plays are actually quite rare, mainly because large Indian exporters usually spread their risk all over the globe. But finding the ones with a heavy European tilt, that is where the real impact of this FTA is going to be felt. Consider how deeply intertwined some of these companies already are with European regulations and demand. Superhouse Ltd, for instance, literally builds its safety footwear to meet strict European EN 345 safety standards. Over in auto components, Samvardhana Motherson physically owns manufacturing plants in Germany, Finland, and France. And in marine products, Apex Frozen Foods pulled a massive 39% of its total revenue strictly from the EU in the last fiscal year, while Avanti Feeds is seeing a surge in EU-cleared units. These companies are already totally hardwired into the European system. But get this number, Balkrishna Industries, or BKT, relies on Europe for nearly half of its entire revenue stream. We're talking somewhere between 42 to 50%. Europe is its single largest market, well ahead of even India itself or North America. That makes BKT arguably the strongest, most genuine match we have for a pure EU export play. Now, a quick aside, we aren't offering financial advice here, we're just following the data. But it is an absolute undeniable fact that as the FTA transitions into a legally binding treaty, these very specific supply chains are going to see massive tariff reductions. That could seriously supercharge their profitability, though, to be fair, it also heavily exposes them to Europe's specific economic swings. So, I'll leave you with this provocative thought to ponder. As the mother of all deals officially goes live in the first quarter of 2027, how will a fully ratified India-EU free trade agreement fundamentally rewire your understanding of global supply chains? The geopolitical chess pieces have already been moved, the trade frameworks are being locked in, and the tech alignment is well underway. So what's your move? How will you prepare for the new economic realities of 2027? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.